there's been a discussion going on in my Facebook group about whether Canelo can stop Triple G. Now, I've said previously, and just to put it out there again for those of you who haven't heard, I'm picking Triple G to win this fight. All right, that's my prediction. I'm taking Triple G to win. But if we're talking about what is possible, because I wouldn't bet my house that Triple G is gonna win, you know. But that's the way I'm leaning. Yeah, I certainly wouldn't put a substantial amount of money on it. But if we're talking about other feasible possibilities, I do think that it's feasible that Canelo could stop Triple G. I don't think that's a ridiculous argument to make or suspicion to have that that could happen. Not at all. People are saying, well, who's Canelo knocked out in terms of middleweights? Who's a real middleweight that he's knocked out? Nobody. So why could he knock out Triple G? Well, why couldn't he knock out Triple G? You know, they say, oh, well, he didn't knock out Chavez. Well, Chavez, he hasn't been knocked out at middleweight. Chavez, the one thing Chavez always had when he was WBC middleweight champion, for all his faults, he always had a great chin. You know, so I don't really pay too much attention to the Chavez thing. Again, to go back to my previous experiences in boxing, other fights I've seen in different eras, I saw Mike Tyson get chopped down by Buster Douglas. Mike Tyson had a great chin. He'd never been down before he fought Buster Douglas. He'd been in the ring with people like Bone Crusher Smith and Frank Bruno, people who had serious knockout power, people who were renowned as far heavier punchers than Buster Douglas. And both of those guys did kind of wobble Tyson a little bit. But neither of them managed to knock him out or even come close. But Buster Douglas, a fringe contender, some even called him a journeyman, who wasn't noted as a big puncher, he managed to knock Tyson out where renowned punchers weren't able to. Evander Holyfield also beat Mike Tyson. Tyson had been in the ring twice with Razor Ruddock, a guy who was a way bigger puncher than Holyfield. Ruddock couldn't put Tyson down. He couldn't stop him. He didn't come close to stopping him in 2 fights. Yeah, Holyfield gets in there. And, you know, understandably, it was years later after Tyson had come out of prison. But still, Holyfield wasn't at his best. He didn't look good in his previous fights against Bobby Ches and whatnot. So nobody thought Holyfield would be stopping Tyson. But he did exactly that. He stopped him. These things happen. Guys who are not necessarily seen as the biggest punchers end up stopping people who don't normally get stopped, or guys who have very good chins. You know, we saw Tim Bradley stopping Brandon Rios, and I know Rios was weight drained, but hindsight is always 20/20. Before fights, people are saying there's no way this guy's going to stop that guy. And then after the fight, people are like, oh, well, you know what? We should have known because there was this and there was that going on. You know, hindsight is always 20/20. And I'm telling you from experience, watching this sport for several decades, it's not ridiculous to believe or suggest that Canelo could stop Triple G. He could stop him with a body shot. You know, we've seen fighters get hit in the right spot on the floating rib and they just go down like they've been shot if they get hit in the sweet spot. So there's the possibility of that happening to Triple G, but there's also the possibility that Canelo wears Triple G down over a number of rounds and hits him consistently enough with headshots where he grinds down Triple G's resistance and eventually stops him. Maybe gets him up against the ropes and, you know, he's landing a hell of a lot of shots and the referee jumps in and waves it off. That possibility wouldn't shock me. It would not shock me. Andre Ward, I couldn't imagine that he would stop Sergey Kovalev, but he stopped Sergey. I don't know, Sergey Kovalev's not exactly known as having an iron jaw. He did get knocked out in the amateurs and whatnot. But Ward was a smaller guy moving up in weight who wasn't even a puncher at the lighter weight, at super middleweight. And he went up there, and he not only did he stop Kovalev, he hurt him in that round where he stopped him. He launched that overhand right. Kovalev's legs was gone. You know, Kovalev fought people like Jean Pascal, who surely is a bigger puncher than Andre Ward. But Pascal couldn't hurt Kovalev the way Andre Ward did. And there are probably other guys out there who Kovalev fought that hit harder than Ward. But again, they didn't manage to get him out of there. They didn't manage to hurt him the way Ward hurt him. If you took Triple G, right, just imagine this, if you're still doubting what I'm saying, if you took Triple G, stood him up straight with his hands by his sides and said, okay, Canelo, hit him in the head as many times as you want and try and get him to go down. Do you think that Canelo's going to stand there and hit him with 20, 30 shots and Triple G is still going to be standing? People, he's going to be sprawled out on the canvas. if he just has to stand there with his hands tied behind his back and Canelo gets to hit him as hard as he can, you think Triple G's going to stand there like, I endured and not go any? He's going to go down eventually after getting hit with, you know, a lot of Canelo bombs. So the question is, how many of those big shots does Canelo need to land in a short succession to get Triple G hurt? Sufficiently hurt to either knock him down or get the referee to step in. And Triple G's obviously going to be blocking and defending as much as he can. It's not like he's going to have his hands tied behind his back. But still, because of that fact that Canelo can hurt Triple G if he can land several shots, several flush punches in short succession, particularly if it's late in the fight and he's worn him down, that can happen. That's not a ridiculous thing to suggest. Again, you look at Holyfield against Tyson. Holyfield never really hurt Tyson seriously with headshots until deep into that fight. I think it was the 10th round was the first time he really hurt Tyson with a headshot. Tyson went down, I think, in the 6th round against Holyfield in the first fight from a shot to the chest. It was a shot to the chest that knocked him off balance and Tyson went down. He didn't get hit with a headshot. It was only in the 10th round when Holyfield walked Tyson onto a big right hand. Then he had him up against the ropes and he launched a barrage. That was the first time that he seriously hurt Tyson in the fight. And he'd worked for, 10.5 rounds up until that point to get Tyson sufficiently worn down where he could actually hurt him with headshots. That's what it would have to be in my mind. Something similar to that with Triple G and Canelo. Canelo's going to have to wear him down, chip away at his resistance, and then open up on him late in the fight if he's going to get a stoppage with headshots. If he gets a stoppage with body shots, it could happen at any time during the fight, But once again, just to close out the video, I'm not picking Triple G to win. Excuse me. I'm not picking Canelo to win. I'm picking Triple G to win. But there are people out there picking Canelo and picking him by stoppage. And I'm just telling you people, it's not ridiculous. It's just a matter of whether Canelo can land enough punches. That's the thing. He has enough power if he lands enough shots to stop Triple G. But can he land enough shots? I personally don't think he can. Because I think Triple G is going to use his length. He's going to use his jab. He's going to not always engage Canelo on the inside because Canelo's very fast with the combinations up close. So I think he's going to try and use his jab and he's going to try and be careful about what he's doing like he was against David Lemieux. So I don't think he'll land enough shots on Triple G, hard shots, clean shots, in a short enough succession to be able to get him going, But just to close out the video, something I've said in previous videos. For me, Triple G's weakness, and I do believe it's a weakness, is that he tends to shell up. He goes into his shell when he's under heavy attack. I believe that's a weakness. I don't believe he's allowing fighters to hit him. I don't buy it at all. His trainer Abel Sanchez has already come out and said that it's ridiculous to suggest that he allowed Danny Jacobs to go 12 rounds. The fight was way too competitive and you don't know what the judges are going to do. That's what Abel Sanchez said. But yet you've got these Triple G fanboys who are a bit away with the fairies, a little deluded, thinking that the only reason Jacobs went 12 rounds is because Triple G allowed it. No, it's because Triple G was trying as hard as he could, but Jacobs' ability prevented Triple G from just steamrolling him. And one of the things that Jacobs did is he was active. He threw a lot more power punches than Triple G. And the more power punches you throw, the more you open up on Triple G, his work rate, at least with his power punches, is going to go down. That right there, I think, is the key. You see, it was similar with Mike Tyson. I know I've talked about Mike Tyson a lot in this scenario, but with Tyson, a lot of people felt like you got to box this guy to beat him. You got to stay on the outside, stay away, try and counter. That's exactly the wrong way to box Mike Tyson for most guys. Tyson wants you to give him space. He wants you to allow him to lead off. That's when Mike Tyson's in his element, when he can bully you around the ring, pressure you, and lead off. The way to actually fight Mike Tyson, Buster Douglas found this out, and so did Holyfield later on. The way to actually fight Mike Tyson is to be first. You attack him. You initiate the exchanges. You impose your will on him. You don't wait for him. And it's the same with Triple G. You don't wait for Triple G to come attack you. You know, you don't wait for him to throw a shot and then you're going to... No, you don't wait for him. You have to open up on him. Now, you don't do it recklessly. You have to know what you're doing. You have to be talented enough. But you open up on the guy and he'll go into his shell and it will bring his punch output, particularly his power punches, down. That's what we saw in the Danny Jacobs fight. He started throwing almost exclusively jabs after a certain point in that fight because he didn't like all the combinations that were coming at him. So he kind of went into his shell and he's like, okay, the only safe punch to throw now is the jab. Jacobs successfully reduced the number of power punches that Golovkin normally throws or normally would throw significantly. And that, I think, is the key for Canelo, to be active. Whenever Triple G comes near him, let those shots fly. Don't let Triple G get comfortable. When you're near him, open up on him. He will shell up. You know, he might get one or two, he might attempt one or two decent shots. But if you keep at him and you're much faster than him up close, he's going to shell up. I've seen it in many Triple G fights now. Not only did I see it in the Danny Jacobs fight, particularly late on in the fight, I also saw it against Willie Monroe. And I even saw it way back in the days against Kasim Umar. When Umar was opening up on Triple G started shelling up. And he wasn't throwing a lot of punches. That, I think, is a weakness in Triple G. Whether Canelo can exploit it well enough to win the fight remains to be seen. But if he can exploit it well enough, then maybe he can put enough damage on Triple G to get a stoppage late. We'll see. Drop your comments in the comment section below. Let me know how you feel. It's happening. I'm out.